Hi, this is Erik Seckinger. I'm here with Rich Halig, paralegal and office manager here at Dronoff and Patrizio. How you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
How did you find your way into the paralegal field?
Actually, by accident, a friend of mine knew Steve Patrizio, and so I met him through the friend, and he had. Um, I was between jobs at the time. I had just finished working for a firm not in the legal profession at all for about 10 years, and that dried up. And a friend said, "Why don't you talk to Steve?" And so I talked to Steve. He said, "Well, um, if you want to do it, we'll give you a shot. We need a paralegal." I said I had no experience. He says, "Don't worry about it. You'll learn on the job." And I started working for him in summer of 1998, and I've been here ever since.
Now, what type of law do you guys practice here at Dronoff and Patrizio?
Dronoff and Patrizio is a small boutique firm. We only have two attorneys. One attorney, Arnie Dronoff, he does mostly personal injury, workers' comp, some corporate law, that kind of stuff. Steve Patrizio, who I predominantly work for, he does probably 50% domestic
What are
work
your
and
normal
50%
tasks on a
criminal.
given day?
Um, from the paralegal standpoint, Steve is in court almost every day for most of the day, so I'm sort of, run interference for him, talk to the clients, find out what the clients' issues are, basically triage the cases and make sure when Steve gets back from court, he knows what's important, what he has to deal with immediately. I do most of the paperwork, do all the pleadings, on the domestic cases, that's filing divorce complaints, sending out interrogatories, filing petitions for special relief if need be, that kind of thing, custody petitions, support petitions, all that stuff. And then in the criminal stuff, doing the entries of appearance, motions to suppress, omnibus motions, different stuff. So I do a lot of time on the phone.
What personality traits would you find most important for a paralegal?
Patience. Patience in dealing with the clients, and more importantly, patience in dealing with the lawyers. I really do. I think you have to have patience. You got to be a good listener, and and try to understand what the clients need, and try to understand what the lawyers need, and hopefully you can accommodate both.
What skills are most important to work on before becoming a paralegal?
Attention to detail. It's a detail-oriented business. You should have a good working knowledge of computers. You should be able to read and write, comprehend what you're reading, and write well. Legal writing is you're not writing a novel. Judges don't want to read 30 pages of stuff. They want you to cut right to it. So, and a lot of that comes from practice. So you're not going to know that right out of the box. And for me, it took years. But now I think I'm pretty good at it. But I think you just get your point across succinctly and as quickly as possible, because you only have their ear for a
What
short
part
time.
of the job did you find most difficult when you were first starting out?
Yeah, the most difficult thing when I started out was just the phones. I didn't know anything about the business, and the phones. Steve was in court, and I'm just answering the phones, and people want to tell
So
me
you're all on your own.
they were expecting me to know about their cases, and I knew nothing about their cases, and so it was tough. And the most difficult thing for me, and still is the domestic relations work, dealing with like child custody issues and stuff like that. That the clients are always tortured about it, and there's really no good answer to give them in a lot of cases. So that's difficult. The criminal work's always been fun. The criminals know what they did. They just want you to get them the best possible outcome, and that's they don't cry. And the domestic people, they need a shoulder to cry on a lot. So that's still tough. The phone calls always been the worst.
Do you find the skill sets differ from one type of law to the next?
Yeah, I would think so. I think like the civil work, like personal injury, that kind of stuff is much more formulaic. Somebody comes in, you get the accident report, you file the complaint, you follow up on the medicals, and I think that's a much more formulaic stuff. So if you're a detail-oriented person and you like to know each day what you're going to do each day, and you don't want to have to deal with too many curveballs coming at you, then that type of stuff is great. And it's usually standard hours. You're not working 9 to 5. I mean, you're working 9 to 5. You're not working nights and weekends, unfortunately. With the criminal work and the domestic work, there's always deadlines looming, and emergencies are coming across. I mean, criminal cases and in domestic cases, you're constantly doing emergency petitions. So you're constantly here, emergency custody petition. Criminal cases and emergency petition for habeas corpus to get a guy bail or something like that. So it's always, something coming at you that makes you work late or have to work on the weekend. So, yeah, it's definitely a different skill set, I think. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much.